Tony Stark's sacrifice in Avengers Endgame was the defining moment of the MCU. He snapped his fingers, erased Thanos and his army, and saved the universe. But what if that wasn't the end? What if Tony Stark didn't actually die? What if in his final moments he used the Soul Stone to transfer his own consciousness into an AI?
हमारे देश में माँ को आई बोलते हैं.
At first glance, Tony's farewell message seems like just a simple hologram. One last goodbye to his family. But when you look closer, something doesn't add up. Watch carefully. When he looks at Morgan and says, "I love you 3000, he makes direct eye contact with her. But here's the thing. Holograms don't work that way. A pre-recorded message shouldn't be able to track a person's position unless she was placed in a very specific spot. Coincidence? Maybe. But let's go deeper. The way he speaks feels too real. His tone, his expressions, it doesn't feel like a static recording. It almost feels like he's there, reacting to them. His hologram even makes eye contact with Morgan, which is nearly impossible if it's a pre-recorded message. What if this wasn't just a goodbye message, but actually an early version of Tony's AI consciousness? And if that's the case, what if he's still out there? The Soul Stone is unique. Like the other Infinity Stones, which control things like time, space, and power, the Soul Stone controls souls. In Endgame, Natasha had to die to obtain it. But here's a thought. What if the Soul Stone doesn't just take souls, but can store or transfer them? Think about it. When Tony snapped his fingers, he wasn't just using the stones randomly. He was calculating every single move. He knew what would happen. What if, in that moment, he used the Soul Stone's power on himself? He may have died physically, but what if he uploaded his consciousness into an AI before his body shut down? Now, let's compare this to someone who already did something similar in the MCU, Arnim Zola. Arnim Zola was a Hydra scientist in the 1940s and a key figure in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s infiltration. But in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, we learned that he digitized his consciousness into a computer system way back in the 1970s. Now think about that for a second. He did this using 1970s technology. That's an era where computers were massive, slow, and had less processing power than a modern smartphone. His system ran on old-school reels, blinking lights, and punch card programming, primitive by today's standards. Yet, despite these limitations, Zola managed to preserve his intelligence, access data, and even communicate. This proves that transferring human consciousness into a machine was already possible in the MCU decades ago, just in a crude form. Now, fast forward to Tony Stark. By Endgame, Stark was generations ahead of anything Zola ever worked with. He built Jarvis, Friday, and Edith, all incredibly advanced AI systems that function independently, process real-time data, and even express personality. He created nanotechnology, making his Mark 85 suit out of nanobots, allowing instant regeneration, shape-shifting, and autonomous repairs. He developed BARF, a holographic reconstruction technology capable of rendering memories with insane levels of detail. Zola needed entire rooms filled with machinery to store his consciousness. But Tony? He built an AI in glasses that could operate satellites, control drones, and scan people's personal data in seconds. If Zola, with his outdated technology, could transfer himself into a computer half a century ago, then imagine what Tony Stark could do with modern technology and access to the most advanced computing power on the planet. And let's not forget, Tony Stark invented time travel. Arnim Zola's biggest achievement was preserving his consciousness on a bunch of old computers. Meanwhile, Tony Stark figured out how to navigate the quantum realm and build a fully functional time machine. If anyone in the MCU could crack the secret to uploading a human mind into an AI, it's him. Unlike Zola, who had to rely on massive mainframes, Tony Stark had nanotech and quantum computing. If he truly planned ahead, he wouldn't have needed a giant storage system. He could have stored his consciousness in a hidden Stark server somewhere, waiting to be activated. Nanobots, allowing his AI to be rebuilt anywhere at any time. The cloud, meaning he could access any system with an internet connection. A secret backup in Edith. Zola was limited by outdated tech, but Tony had limitless possibilities. If Zola could cheat death, Tony Stark could do it 1,000 times better. And if Marvel follows the comics, his AI could return to guide Ironheart, warn the Avengers, or even rebuild himself. In the comics, after Tony Stark's body goes into a coma, his AI version mentors Riri Williams. And guess what? The Ironheart series is coming to the MCU very soon. We have seen similar things before, like Jor-El in Man of Steel, guiding Superman even after his death. Now this is where things get even more interesting. Robert Downey Jr. is reportedly returning to the MCU, but as Dr. Doom. So there's a high possibility that Robert Downey Jr. could return as Iron Man in a similar way, with his AI guiding and assisting the heroes even after his death. So is Tony Stark really gone? Maybe not. His body is gone, but his mind, his intelligence, his legacy, they might still exist, waiting for the right moment to return. With Ironheart, Armor Wars, and Secret Wars on the horizon, we might be seeing Tony Stark's AI make its big comeback. What do you think? Could Tony Stark still be alive as an AI watching over the MCU from the digital world? Let me know in the comments below.